like stars, highly touted prospects to come up and just, destroy it. Destroy the league. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Eloy Jimenez are two of the top prospects everybody's been hearing about. Obviously Guerrero being Vladimir Guerrero Sr.'s son. There's a lot of, expectations for the kid. It's tough to take his first year into account. These guys are just trying to get their feet wet. Both of them have shown signs that they're going to be stars. People need to learn to be patient. The talent level is there. They've shown signs. Results will come. Because they're too talented not to. Brody Van Wagenen, write this sentence down 500 times in both English and Spanish. The Mets need to sign Zach Wheeler. Write it down. Keep writing it. Over and over and over and over again. It's his walk year. It has to get done. This guy was basically written off after those seasons he couldn't pitch because of injury. Obviously, he's had multiple surgeries. He had a really rough start to his, major league career. But he's shown why he's such a highly touted prospect. Last season was not a fluke. Because I feel like that's what the Mets are waiting for something to happen with Wheeler. They're not. It's almost like they're not buying into him. Like, his late surge last season was just a little. It was just fluky. Like, something's gonna happen. This guy has figured it out, and he's become one of the better pitchers in all of baseball. Wheeler's arm is just getting stronger. He seems to throw harder every start. Like, I've seen him go from, 97 to 99 to over 100. I've seen as high as 101 or 102 on the gun. Which is crazy, because I've never thought I would see Zach Wheeler hit that. To that level, to that extent. Since that embarrassing start against the Nationals at home, when he walked 7 hitters, he's been fantastic. In 4 of his last 5 starts, he's gone 7 innings. He's struck out 10 or more in 3 of his last 4 times out. It's his walk year. And once again, the Mets front office is sitting on their hands. Get this man a new contract. On a positive note, though, the Mets offense seems like it's broken out of their slump. The Miami Marlins coming to town was just what the doctor ordered. Oh, and by the way, the Marlins starting pitching is pretty good. This isn't, everybody's saying, it's the Marlins, it's the Marlins, it's the Marlins. If the Mets were winning every game 2-1, I would be like, okay, it's still the same. Because the Marlins pitchers are pretty impressive. They're not a bunch of stars, but they have some good, solid pitchers. They're all young, too. Sandy Alcantara, absolutely. He owned the Mets last year in his 3 starts. And he pitched well again. And Pablo Lopez is pretty solid, too. Now his ERA went up 3 runs because of, his last time out. He absolutely got killed. But These are pretty decent young pitchers. Jeff McNeil really is crazy good. I feel like people aren't talking about this kid enough. He's hitting .360. Think about that for a second. He's hitting .360. Jeff McNeil. That's second to only Cody Bellinger, who was just out of this world. He's hitting over 400 right now, which is just crazy. McNeil isn't the biggest power hitter out there. But it's the middle of May, and Jeff McNeil has 50 hits. He just keeps on hitting. He's a machine out there. He takes the ball the other way. He hits the ball up the middle. Teams are trying to figure out how to defend him. See, but that's the best. When you see defenses try to move around to try to figure out how to play somebody, do we play him to pull? Do we play him that, he goes the opposite way? Do we play him straight up? And they're moving around, but he always seems to find the hole. He finds holes in the defense. McNeil sets up perfectly for guys like Pete Alonso, Michael Conforto, Robinson Cano, and Wilson Ramos to do what they can do. Moving over to the AL East, Domingo Germán has been absolutely just unreal for this Yankee team for a lot of different reasons. I mean, injuries have depleted this team. And the rotation was already full of question marks. The Yankees have been impressive. I had questions regarding Luis Severino and if he could become an ace. Masahiro Tanaka's consistency or lack thereof, and whether or not he was going to be able to stay healthy. There were a lot of questions about Tanaka from me. How good is J.A. Happ really? And he's struggled to start off the year. He pitched well the other day, but he's struggled to start off the season. James Paxton, and if he could finally stay healthy, obviously that hasn't, that hasn't held up either. Like, there were a lot of questions here. CC Sabathia in his last season, how well was he going to pitch and how often would he be able to go? Would he be able to stay healthy? How good is he still? There were a lot of questions in the rotation. The fact that Domingo Germán has emerged the way he has, it's masked every issue this rotation has had. When you think about it, you think about all the things that have really gone wrong. Severino there's no real timetable for him to return now. James Paxton got hurt, even though he got off to a pretty good start. J.A. Happ has struggled. So when you think about it, Domingo Germán he's been a godsend for this Yankee team. He's now 7-1 with an ERA of 2.7. His last start in Tampa wasn't the most impressive, but the kid is getting the job done. That's just the way, it's the bottom line here. He went head-to-head with Tyler Glasnow and pitched well against a good team, against a good Tampa team that was just getting Austin Meadows back, which is a big deal. That lineup, adding a guy like Austin Meadows, who, since he's come back from the injury, is 5 for 12 with 2 home runs. He's breaking out. He's becoming a star, Austin Meadows is. over for the Tampa Rays. I feel like every game he has at least 2 hits or a home run. This was a pretty highly touted prospect that they received in the trade for Archer. And he was kind of forgotten about a little bit, but he's reminding people who he is. Game 7s are the best, aren't they? They really get you excited. Evenly matched, sometimes heated, competitive games for all the marbles. Intensity level rises to its peak. You find out who's really about it. Wire to wire, back and forth, dramatic finishes, big shots. It has a March Madness kind of feel to it. That's what you want, right? You want competitive, dramatic, big shots, a little bit of physicality. You want to see guys diving for balls. That's just the way it is. Diving for a loose ball. That's just kind of the way it is. Whether you're a fan of the two teams or not, there really is nothing better. 2 of them were played last night, and they were both classics. Let's just say the Houston Rockets lost to the Golden State Warriors in humiliating fashion in Houston. And, people are still talking about it, but because of the 2 Game 7s, it's almost like that's not as big of a deal now. The Portland Trail Blazers, as the underdogs, went into Denver against the best home team in the NBA and won. Led by CJ McCollum. Not Dame Lillard. CJ McCollum showed everyone that he is indeed a star. He's that second favorite child. That's pretty much everybody overlooks CJ McCollum. People have been overlooking CJ McCollum for years. Everyone is gaga over Damian Lillard. And trust me, I understand why. Dame Lillard is out of this world. He's probably a top 10 player in the NBA right now. And his mentality is rubbing off on everybody else around him. But my God, is McCollum the man. Every answer throughout the game, throughout the series, was made by him. He is the biggest reason the Blazers are moving on to Golden State. 37 points. Every time Denver started getting some momentum back, CJ McCollum would hit another shot. Now, Dame Lillard did hit a few. Every 3 he hit was big. So, he didn't have a good game. But he was clutch when he did make them. But that was a McCollum game. That was a McCollum series. The guy averaged nearly 30 points a game in that series. Zach Collins, who I've brought up a million times and I will continue to bring up, has stepped up big time. And to think that if Nurkic hadn't gotten hurt, Collins wouldn't be playing at all. Because they signed Cantor before Nurkic went down. So the 2 bigs were Nurkic and Cantor. Collins wasn't playing for a little while. And then when Nurkic went down, it was Cantor and Collins. He's a great big guy to have on any team. High energy player. He blocks shots. He can shoot. Evan Turner put up 14 off the bench. Like, you look at